Dudley has said that the trajectory of oil prices will largely depend on China's economic recovery. In a conversation with me, Dudley added that he does not expect oil prices to rise higher than the current levels. He also revealed that he has always been bullish on India.
This giant oil and gas exhibition called ADIPEC has had and will have by the end of the week 160,000 visitors. But I think what's unique about this, the day before the COP, there was a session on COP28, the lead up to the COP28 as well, and including oil and gas and energy companies from all over the world got together and are beginning to make the commitments and get ready to be part of the COP28 meetings later this year, about 60 days from now, with real tangible commitments from an industry that does amazing engineering things, talent, people, and capital. So I'm optimistic about it, and the whole flavor of this exhibition has taken on a view around COP.
Realistically, Mr. Dudley, what can we expect from COP28 when it comes to our commitment on climate action and financing?
Well, for many years, the oil and gas and energy industries were excluded from COP discussions. This year, I would expect them to be central, not only oil and gas, energy companies, but steel, aluminum, transportation companies will be part of it, all laying out commitments, not just targets, but actually action commitments and programs that we can get in action on to reduce emissions. It isn't about shutting down oil and gas. It is about harnessing the power of the oil and gas industry to actually do things like put up satellites, start measuring methane emissions around the world, and with tangible plans to mitigate it. So this is going to be a very different COP.
Right. I'd like to ask you about oil prices currently. They're nearing $100 a barrel. What is your view on where prices could go from here?
Well, there's a number of factors here. They have been creeping up, and they've been moving up, I think, partly because there is a shortage. There's a lack of investment in the oil and gas industry. That's certainly clear. But a lot of it depends on the pace and growth, or slow growth, or faster growth in China. Has a lot to do with the oil price right now. And I think that's probably the major factor at the moment. Plus, economic industry and economic activity in the U.S. has picked up. And they just did the storage levels of crude oil in the United States, and it was quite low. So I think that's a short-term impact on the price.
Do you expect prices to go higher from here?
It's hard to say. Some people around me are saying, well, $100 a barrel is quite possible here towards the end of the year. To me, again, it depends on the pace of Chinese growth, which could go either way. So I'm not really expecting them to rise much above where they are today.
What about demand destruction? At $100 a barrel, this is a worry about demand destruction. Is that a concern for you?
Well, I don't have much concern either way with the oil prices. I think there will be some demand destruction, just like there has with natural gas prices last winter in Europe. But I think the world needs to have its heat, light, and mobility, and it needs to have the energy to do that. And I think I'm not so worried about demand destruction because industrial activity is up in North America. And it does seem to be up in China.
Overall, how bullish are you on India? Today, the World Bank has come out with its outlook predicting a 6.3% growth rate for India. They've said that India will be one of the fastest growing economies, one of the most resilient economies in the world. Your outlook on how India is set to grow from here, how can it play a bigger role in global supply chains?
Well, I've always been very bullish on the growth prospects for India, not only because of the great dynamism of the people, the demographics, the age. You've got young people at a much greater percentage in India than you do in China. You've got really smart, energetic people, and I think the world is going to get difficult. So India finding places it can play in the supply chains of the world, and probably hooking up with big companies to try to be part of their supply chains. And in a way, India is a neutral nation, in my view. So it's got a great advantage of that as well.
Any areas you feel that India should work on to leverage that advantage, the China plus one strategy that many countries are coming up with?
Well, I think I think each of the industries need to pair and pick their markets and sometimes partnerships with big companies and government policy to allow that to happen. I think those are the things that would just keep it moving really fast. Pretty good shape right now, I think. It's not going to be an overnight transition. My view is that India knows what it needs to do, and it's doing it. And so I don't have a specific suggestion to jumpstart it. Just keep doing what you're doing and maybe do it faster.
With that, it's a wrap on this edition of News.